Merry meet everybody and bright blessings. I'm Lady Leeanna, and welcome today to my show. I would like to talk to you today about dream symbology and how you can use it to develop your psychic mind, bring to the surface your own sixth senses so that you could use them in your everyday life, just as I do. Psychic abilities rest within every mind upon the earth, man, woman, and child. But very few people will ever come to the understanding of what rests inside of them because, quite frankly, a lot of people don't acknowledge it. And then there are those great amount of people that don't believe in it. And then also there are those that just don't have the time to study it or meditate on it. And so it leaves very few to actually bring it to the surface and place it before you for your aid or for their own help. Dream symbology is a very good field, and it's rather deep. But the study of it is very light and takes hardly anything. It's merely a conditioning of your mind to remember to dream, remember to remember your dreams, and remember that you had a dream, and then what was in it. And then another step would be to write it down as soon as you wake up and before you have a chance to do anything else, or before anybody talks to you, or before you start thinking about anything else. Writing it down on a pad and with a pencil that you have resting by the bedside from that night. And then thirdly, to draw out a dream symbology handbook with your trusty symbols inside and began to pencil over your own lines, that which the book says the symbols actually mean. And then fourthly, to finally start tying it all in together for yourself by reading it over and over. You know, you can't just write such things down and then cast it to the side after one look over, and that's what a lot of people are inclined to do. As a matter of fact, I'm quite guilty of that in the beginning. But as I started studying it, then it started bringing out things inside of me. It started getting to where I could talk to somebody on the phone and they'd be telling me something, and then I'd start seeing like light bands whenever I'd blink my eyes, light bands within my sight in the darkness that would take forms of different things, and then I would get to where eventually I was secure enough to speak it, you know, to whoever I was talking to on the phone, and they would tell me, oh, that was that such and such, blah, blah, blah. And they would validate to me that what I'm seeing is actually correct. And so I drew a lot more faith in myself on that and began to use it a lot more. I was 2 years old whenever I began to have my first true experiences within the psyche. I remember this for so many different reasons. For one thing, it was the night that the first man had walked on the moon, and it was all over the newscast on our black and white TV. I was walking around holding on to many kneecaps as my brothers, sisters, mother and father were all sitting around on the couches and chairs watching this. And I remember turning around and looking at the TV to see a newscaster who was bald-headed, had dark circles under his eyes, was pale-complected, and looked all the more grotesque considering that it was a black and white TV, you know. But I don't remember a lot about the earlier part of that night, but, you know, the next thing I know, I'm waking up in my playpen with the dining room light on, as that's where my playpen was, and no one else around whatsoever. I must have fallen asleep and woke in the middle of the night to find nobody there. And I gazed around, I guess kind of startled because everything looked different, from whenever I was awake. And the TV was on the far side of the living room and in the direction I would be looking at, since the back side of the playpen was against the wall. But looking across the dining room and into the living room, the TV comes on in the living room. And I see that same grotesque newscaster talking to me. And he pointed a finger at me and he said, "Leeanna, have you ever thought about coming to the dark side?" And then the TV flipped back off. Well, I began to bawl and squall. And as I turned around in my playpen, I looked at the window that was on the back side of the playpen, the window that was on the wall that my playpen backed up to. And there was a black and white finger, a big thick finger, regular large man size, poking through the mini blinds, as if to say, "Yeah, I had been talking to you, and don't you forget it." And obviously he made his point, because 46 years later I'm sitting here talking to you about it. But, there for a while after that, I don't recall many other experiences. A lot of things got shut down in me. I had been told that things were impossible, that you can't do that it was all in my imagination. And so I repressed everything, clear up to the age of 16, and things started surfacing a little bit, but then I wanted to push it back down, because as a teenager, I wasn't wanting to hear all of that. I wanted to do a lot of other things. But then at age 18, I began to embark on learning about paganism, witchcraft, Wicca, and the like. And I don't remember who it was. I had been reading a lot of different books, talking to many different people, so I couldn't really tell you who pointed me in the right direction. But someone had pointed out to me that dream symbology could be the key to reopening my psychic gifts and bringing it to the surface again. And so I thought I would give it a fair chance. And I went out and I got 3 good books. I say good, but I got 3 books. And by 3 various authors. Couldn't really even tell you who they were at this point. But I began to read on these books, all the symbols that were in them, and the exercises that they gave me in the very beginning of all the books that were pretty much alike, and that was in the conditioning of the mind to remember your dreams. And I'll give you those exercises before we complete this video here today. But, would be about the conditioning of the mind and remembering your dreams while you're sleeping, taking note of everything that's inside of them. And so reading on all of these books and everything, I found that a lot of the symbols in them were very universal, and pretty much everything is like it is, only it has different aspects whenever you add color to it, or put it with another symbol of a different sort, and you learn all that as you go. But just basically, bear in mind that if you see a table, it typically means a table or dinner time or something along those lines, and you can put it together as long as you have a full story to work with. Nonetheless, it helped me a great deal. And within 3 months, it was actually on a very light note, but very truly working for me. As I was talking to other people, listening to them on the phone or whatever, I would get symbols in my head, pretty much in a blackened place in there, but bands of light would make up symbols, things that looked like things, and I could tell what they were. And I could hit the books again and draw out other people's ideas to what those symbols should be. You know, it never hurts to refer back to the books. It never does. You know, if you can't draw on a good conclusion of your own yet, eventually that'll take form. But really, my psychism busted wide open. My sixth senses started playing in. I mean, within a half a year, I was reading, different things about my friends in crystals and in tarot cards and so forth. Although all of that would take many years to evolve and shape inside of myself as far as the tools were concerned. Nonetheless, it's inside of you and you can't give up on it. You have to meditate. In meditating, you get to close your eyes. And while you're closing your eyes, these symbols really do start swamping you. And you can sit there and meditate on what that symbol was and what you feel it could mean to you. I mean, your own meditation will guide itself at that point to an extent that it's teaching you in dream symbology, or in symbology altogether, that is. All in all, very powerful tool. The exercise is this. Quite simply, you tell yourself very thinkingly, step 1, I will remember my dreams. I will remember my dreams a second time while you're thinking about it. And thirdly, you'll say right behind those, I will remember the color of things, the number of things, the people within my dreams and what they mean to me. And I'll remember the atmosphere, the feeling of the place, of wherever I'm at within the dream. And then lastly, one final time, I will remember my dream. And then you'll go to thinking about something else, totally off topic, for about 3 minutes or so. Just one thing, for about 3 minutes or so. And then right after that, you'll tell yourself one final time, I will remember my dream, while thinking about it. And then you'll lay your head down and you'll go to sleep. 9 out of 10 times, you're going to remember a lot of things when you wake up. And you want to have a paper and a pencil handy so that you can write down everything within that dream before you interact with another person or before you do anything else, and try to recount it in deepest detail, and then eventually put it together in order that it happened. It's very important that you do all of this. And then afterwards, it's time to hit the books. All of the symbols within the books. And you want to write down everything as far as your dream is concerned in one, either printing it or in writing. That way, whenever you do hit the books and you start writing down the definitions of your symbols, your dreams being the symbols, you want to write down the definitions, which are that which you get from the book, above your lines and in a different handwriting system. Printing if you've got writing down about your dream, or writing if you got printing down about your dream. And that way you could tell which is which as you go to looking it over each time. And eventually, after that, you want to start drawing together all the definitions of the symbols and reading only those to determine what it is that your dream is trying to say to you. And you don't just look it over once and throw it aside, because you'll never get anywhere that way. You have to be persistent, and that dream isn't just going to open up to you that easily. Don't just settle. This has been Lady Leeanna, and I really hope that you've enjoyed this video and that it will be of a great help to you in the future. Have a lot of faith in yourself, because that's where it all comes from. And as long as you can do that, you can go anywhere. The mind is a great and wonderful place, and it's meant to be delved into if you do it properly. Just remember that your dreams are trying to tell you something, and 9 out of 10 times it's extremely important. So pay attention to those. But join us again on our next topic. I'm not quite sure of what that will be, but hopefully it'll be a very good topic. And to help the channel along, rate, comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll be grateful for you forever. And above everything, blessed be and merry part. I hope life treats you good.